Hello, and welcome to Mindset Nebula, where we discuss all things tech, design, and mindset. Today, we'll be talking about Sapphire 2022, SAP's big conference, big spring conference. And I'm Ethan Jewett, and we've got Rob and Paru joining me today.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Right. So, we wanted to get together and talk a little bit about Sapphire and about which is coming up in about a week at this time of recording. So this should be getting out before then. So you all going to Sapphire?
I will be making the big trek from one side of my office to the other and attending the virtual sessions again, like last year.
Cool.
I will not be. Sometimes I hear rumors from my SAP friends that I might be, but as of now, I am not.
Not this year.
So I might just do what Rob.
Or maybe the question is, which Sapphire would you be today?
Exactly. You could go to Tokyo.
Apparently, it might be the one of the country where I'm a citizen of, maybe Germany.
So. Maybe Germany. Cool. Yeah. I will be in Orlando. I got the golden ticket. So that'll be fun. Not sure what we'll be doing there exactly, but hope to attend some keynotes and hear what SAP is planning for next year. The last time I think I was at Sapphire, there was something about X data and O data, and that was a long time ago. So we'll see what has changed.
For sure. Yeah. Well, at least you kind of have a little sense of what you might be doing, because there's details on the registration page for the in-person Orlando event. There's a fair amount of detail there. There's very little about the hybrid event as of yet. So I am officially registered for the hybrid event, and there was a total of like 12 sessions available to me across 3 days so far. So I'm going to take a leap of faith and trust that there's going to be more than that. Of course, maybe it's one of those, you get what you pay for types of things. And, being that the virtual events are free, I'm not getting much value for it just yet.
Yeah. I'm guessing they're getting the rooms arranged and things, because they're probably only have recording in certain rooms. So
yeah. So I think what was surprising for me was, we are so used to the virtual side, right? So it's a kind of a pity. There are many in-person events, but it is kind of pity that not all are available virtually for people who are not able to attend, because anyway, Sapphire, you can't hold all the SAP world. So it would have been nice to have quite a few of those virtual sessions.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think it'll be the first conference of any type that I've really been to in 2 years, or, well, more than that, obviously. And so it'll be a new experience. I might get afraid and have to stay in my hotel room, but I don't think so. I think it'll be good to see at least some people who are able to make it, who I know.
Right.
Yeah, so this isn't by any means the same size or scale, but we have had a few in-person ASUG events, and Mindset's been at a few. I've actually had the pleasure of attending a couple, and so that's exciting. I mean, it is fun. It's just a different energy and very reminiscent. When you get there, you kind of remember the way things were a little bit more again. So that's kind of cool. Of course, Sapphire is a much bigger, bolder thing than those local ASUG events, but yeah, I think, Ethan, you'll probably slide right back into kind of old habits, and it'll all feel very familiar.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
I was just at one of them. I think the best part was meeting in person, right? So just seeing the people in person, that itself brings a different energy and different discussions as well, because expressions and hand gestures and so on also lead to a little bit of a different direction when you're discussing. So you are able to see the full set of audience, and that is also very different. So, but you will slide right back. I think the last 2 years kind of get wiped off your mind when you're in person.
We'll see. Well, if anybody in Orlando wants to say hi, you can try to track me down. It would be great to see anybody who's no, it would be great to see anybody.
Well,
I won't even
this will be
qualify.
your first time in public since you've been a podcast personality.
Exactly. I'm expecting to be swarmed by all of the Mindset Nebula listeners.
Paparazzi.
We should come up with a secret password that only people who listen to this episode will
Put it in
know.
the show notes.
So we talked a little bit about virtual and hybrid, but it's Sapphire is also going on the road, whatever that means. But it looks like the plan is to be in Mexico City, and then in the Netherlands and Madrid and Zurich, and then East Asia, Beijing and Tokyo, and then Sao Paulo, and then Munich. So we were going kind of around the world, and then we just sort of left all over the place at the very end. But that's exciting and interesting and a bit of a different thing. I know for a few years there was it was sort of split. There was it TechEd that they did Las Vegas, and then in Europe, and then in India, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And so, and I think the Europe one was co-located with Sapphire 1 year or a few years. They were trying a lot of things for a while.
Right. Yeah. I think that's the one a lot of people actually enjoyed. The one that was co-located.
That was really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was in Madrid, I think. I was actually able to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I see you there, Paru?
No. That was the time when I was not yet into events. So
okay. Yeah, that was a fun one, definitely.
Yeah.
I seem to remember that there was an SAP mentor thing where they were because it was co-located Sapphire and TechEd, the mentors were all these techie people, and they had this thing where it was hug a suit. And so they would be running up and hugging people who were in suits, which apparently some people got very upset about. Which, I mean, definitely understandable. I don't think unasked for hugs are a great thing, but in retrospect, maybe it was kind of funny.
Yeah. I missed that one then.
Yeah. I did not participate in that. I'm not a hugger. So on that note, kind of what are you all looking forward to with Sapphire? Any topics we're hoping to hear about or anything like that?
I think normally Sapphire comes with a lot of news around it beforehand. This has been a very quiet launch of Sapphire, including what kind of focus it will bring and so on. So when looking into the agenda, I saw what I would expect to see as focus: BTP, sustainability, cloud. That being said, I'm still unsure about what SAP wants to bring out as the main message, which is different from last year's. And normally Sapphire is the platform where very big news is coming out, and that has not yet come out. So hopefully there's a very huge surprise for us, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. What is the big surprise?
Yeah, there is one of the hot topics is metaverse, which is interesting, I guess I would say. Not my favorite topic in the world, but not exactly what I expected to see at Sapphire.
Have you heard any leaks about what the context is for metaverse? And
metaverse? No, I got nothing. I've heard about some other things that I'm not allowed to talk about, but not metaverse. No.
Last year, the whole prevalence and the weight of sustainability was a bit of a surprise. That was not one, because I remember we did this podcast last year in our prediction segment, and none of us had hit on that. And they spent, and obviously an enormous amount of time and energy on that topic. And they've kind of followed that all through the year. They've had product announcements and a fair amount of media attention on their sustainability strategy, and it still is making its way more into the products. It's definitely and it's definitely kind of more pronounced in the visible agenda this year as well. But yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise last year. So maybe our surprise this year will truly be a surprise per.
Yeah, I think the sustainability has been kind of red thread throughout last year, right? If you look into every announcement, every event of SAP, that has been kind of I would say the strongest story that has come out last year, and that is still to deliver from perspective of customer stories and so on, but it does seem to have generated a lot of interest on the SAP customer side as well. Just wanted to comment on one thing, Ethan, regarding the metaverse. I think the main areas of metaverse might be interesting for us as mindset as well: user experience management, design thinking. These are some of the aspects that metaverse has touched on, so that does generate curiosity. I hope it is a little different from just SAP um, trying again with some of the topics that it hasn't yet brought out in a big way
Yeah.
to the products yet. So hope that that gives a kind of start as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to trot out a lot of the sort of like 3D virtual reality stuff that has been going on for a really long time. But I'm kind of similarly hoping that maybe it'll be focused on how we deliver SAP value and using the metaverse to make that happen in a better way. So, like, can we do virtual design thinkings with a sort of virtual reality, virtual presence, or something like that?
Yeah.
Can we observe users like on the factory floor without actually having to travel there in a way that's relatively efficient, so that we can look at sites all around the world without having to fly to 10 different countries. There's a sustainability message there, there's a metaverse message there. Maybe that could be on both agendas.
And there's a blockchain message there. Sorry.
If you could
Yeah.
find a topic I love even more than metaverse.
I know, that's why I mentioned it specifically. Though it's
but
not the biggest
no,
thing that is mentioned under
notably, it's not a
metaverse.
hot topic at
Yeah.
Sapphire this year. So
Right.
thank goodness. I'm sure there will be blockchain
Yeah.
at Sapphire. No
Yeah.
question.
Right.
The metaverse layered into some of their networks would be kind of an interesting play too, right? You think about their supply network and business partner networks. Having you could visualize maybe being able to meet up with some of those dispersed entities through metaverse. Would be another interesting play on it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder what you'll see, Rob, in Virtual Sapphire, if there will be any new or interesting features.
Yeah, that that would be kind of cool. Yeah, I'm waiting for the site to catch up a little bit just so I can even see the basics. But yeah, I imagine it will be, there will certainly be many of the same themes. They usually try to be consistent with that. Last year, I found it a bit challenging to get to many of the sessions for a lot of the reasons that we talked about. The kind of the downside of virtual events is that you don't have the physical separation of your work that you do when you go to Orlando or Madrid or any of these other places, and so you really have to have the discipline to kind of carve out time to go see it. And it's hard because it's recorded, and so you're always saying, well, I can view the recording later and just attend this client meeting, and so that's where it makes it hard to really get as much attendance at some of the events as I would otherwise if I were attending.
Yeah, at least Rob, from the agenda that I see of the virtual session, at least on my end, it looks like we will be able to cover the time because it's so light. It's like an appetizer.
12 of them, right?
Exactly.
I know. I'm saying that Ethan, I'm like, well, I could just attend all of them,
right.
Which is something I'd never said before. I went to every session at Sapphire.
Exactly. Yeah, it's almost like I keep waiting to see whether the agenda is going to expand and maybe they just forgot some sessions, but it looks like they just want to give one of each topic and that is it. Then. And there's no metaverse mentioned, so maybe it's just a part of everybody's presentation. So
excellent. Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, we'll see how it is. I expect that, as usual, the bad internet situation will really help to force participation in the conference. I do think it's going to be significantly smaller this year than it has been in the past. That's what I'm picking up, kind of. So yeah, so I do wonder how that's going to make it different, how that's going to change the nature of the conference.
Mhm.
There is some mention in the and in the live conference site of safety, like having enough room that people could be safe attending it. So there definitely is some awareness of the fact that even though we may not be wearing our masks everywhere, there still is the tail end of a pandemic that we're dealing with, and so I think you're right, Ethan. It'll likely be a measured group, that have limited attendance and probably still some precautions in place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ethan,
definitely.
I'm curious about the in-person. What actually uh, kind of interests you in the Orlando part?
Um, that's a great question, Paru.
Thank you.
I'm actually probably the most interesting thing outside of so I'm going with the SAP mentor program, and so we'll have sessions on our own
Right.
to some extent. Um, so that'll be the most interesting thing, I think, and it usually is. So when I've gone to Sapphire in the past, it's been sort of a separate conference in some ways, and we get over there to see the keynotes and to hang out on the show floor. But a lot of it is happening over in the hotel area. Um, this time around, I'm guessing that'll be a little bit lighter, and I'll be more able to get over and watch the keynotes and mingle a little bit more. So seeing more of the keynotes, I think, will be good. I know I remember in the past at the conference, it's been sometimes like sitting in one of the conference rooms, watching the keynote on video while trying to get some email done. And so we'll try to avoid that a little bit more this time, hopefully.
Yeah. I was surprised to see the marketing person on the stage for the keynote. I think it's the first time for
Julia
SAP
White,
to have
yeah.
the chief marketing officer on
It's almost
stage,
like
right?
second billing. She's right after Christian on the
Yeah.
slides of the luminaries that'll be present.
Right. Even Jonathan was not there, even as the chief digital officer. So I was really surprised to see Julia White. So I'm wondering whether that's a kind of keynote is going to be very marketing like kind of message. Hopefully not, because Julia seems to be, at least from the SAP world, much more hands-on with regard to product, but would have been nice to see somebody from the technology side as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, Sapphire is always a pretty marketing heavy event. Let's be honest,
Yeah, I know.
um, but but yeah, I think she's been very good in the past, and I think, I mean, SAP actually has a lot of offerings in that area now, like the sort of B2C or
Right.
customer cloud type stuff. Um, so maybe there will be more of a story
Hmm.
that she's able to tell her on the products as well.
Right.
I think that could be good.
Hmm. Yeah. I think the main three things that stand out for me is the S/4HANA, the BTP, and the sustainability so far, and even the
Yeah.
Orlando agenda, right? So if I look at it, it is pretty those three topics heavy. So
Yep, and
Yeah. And
rise.
Rise. I'm wondering if there will be
rise,
kind of a
rise.
reset on Rise a little bit to, like, now
Mhm.
that it's been around for a little while and we've seen in SAP has started to see how it's working in the market. Maybe there will be a refreshed message there.
Very well
In
could be.
fact, yeah, in fact, even customers seem to be asking more about rice as well, right? I mean, one of the customers recently said that they are interested in knowing which way to go, S4 on-prem, cloud, and rice. And I was surprised about that aspect of it, that rice comes up as one of the choices among these three, right? So,
Yeah. It's an
yeah,
ERP alternative.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So I
we'll
think
see what happens
even
there.
for the customers, that would be good to have a refreshed message on rice. So,
Yeah, that'll be one of the topics I'm really looking out for. I think
mhm.
is can we get a little better handle on Rise?
Yeah.
Can we explain it a little bit better,
Mhm.
or maybe restate it a little bit? So I'll be looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Hopefully.
Well, and like you said, they might even be, instead of just even restating it, they might even be repositioning it a bit, or offering different positionings of it, like maybe potentially different carved out offerings for for different if you have different needs and use cases, because it was at least the initial viewpoint of it was fairly granular, or I mean, like not granular, the opposite of granular is fairly consistent. This is what it is, and it's kind of everything.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing I'm looking forward to, and I probably am not supposed to talk about this, but I haven't actually caught up on any of the SAP mentor briefings, so I have no idea what's going to happen. But last year there was sort of a rollout of learning.sap.com, and then it was improved in the TechEd timeframe. It's really pretty nice. So I'm hoping we see a lot more there in terms of learning.sap.com and the new sort of revamped learning materials. Yeah, fingers crossed. But the more that SAP can make that stuff available that was used to be and currently is still locked behind Learning Hub. Is that what it's? Yeah, Learning Hub. The better that's going to be for all of SAP's customers, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything around that even in the ASUG sites from an agenda perspective. So, yeah, perhaps there are some customer stories or something of that sort, maybe.
Maybe it's a vain hope, but I hope that I really hope that we don't let up on that area.
Yeah, no, it is quite nice also for the users and so on, right? So, and I think one of the things that we used tremendously is the BTP platform as well, from the whole aspect of our team being able to try out different things and so on. So enabling has been one of the topics that they have been able to live up to last year. So hopefully that continues and becomes stronger this year. So
I think we'll probably see a lot more kind of specific product offerings around the sustainability space too, because they did introduce quite a bit over the course of the last year. When they made the kind of the big announcement at Sapphire, the details were a bit few and far between, right? There was a couple of directional product offerings, but they introduced the sustainability control tower and kind of the whole I'm trying to remember the name of the platform, right? They've introduced the product footprint management, capability that's very specific capabilities that they're starting to build in as extensions and components in the overall platform. I would imagine we'll maybe get some more details on some of that at this event too.
Yeah. I think that would be also part of the keynote, right? Sustainability. So from that perspective, perhaps it will come out a bit more.
Yeah. You noticed that even like they added that sustainability to their kind of their highest level product branding. Like it's now intelligent and sustainable enterprise rather than just the intelligent enterprise. So
maybe we can just get rid of the intelligent part and then
really good. There's a lot of marketing equity in there. They gotta try and squeeze it out.
It's a sunk cost. Yeah. No, I've been really pleased to see that over the last year or so.
Yeah. And I think the other part that comes out very strongly for me is the user experience part. There seems to be quite a few around that with UI technology, mobile solutions, and so on that are in the sessions itself, all in the B2B sessions. But that's really encouraging for me to see that there is so much of focus on user experience side. So
hopefully more, we'll see, but hopefully more rollout of mobile start, both in terms of the platforms it supports, in terms of both SAP platforms it supports and mobile platforms it supports, maybe, fingers crossed. Can we get Android? And so, so like more on that would be great, and a demonstrated commitment to improving it.
Right. And there is one on virtual intelligent enterprise, virtual reality. So maybe you get to catch that, which we will not.
The virtual enterprise. You let me know when it is, and I will go and record it for you.
Thank you. I shall send you the session. Oh, that's a great idea. We just send the sessions all to Ethan that we want to attend. So
excellent. All right. Any more predictions or things we're looking forward to, or should we get to planning our Sapphire sessions?
I think
Agendas.
the one thing that interests or intrigued me is the number of COVID sessions that are there, especially at a time when we are kind of coming out of the COVID thing. There, I'm curious regarding what's the futuristic message over there that they would like to give. Is it that we can handle all pandemics, a part of the sustainability aspect, or or there is some lessons learned out of how the, different customers handled COVID, or how SAP itself kept
Well,
aside time for
yeah, I mean,
COVID,
I
right?
guarantee they'll hit up the sustainability impact around that, right? Because the resilience, supply chain resilience, and there's a number of very drastic business learnings that came out of that they've positioned products to help address. So I'm sure that will be a big part of the messaging.
Yeah, that's another curiosity aspect, right? Regarding how much can we react? So a reactive enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so Paru, you said that, and I thought I didn't see any COVID sessions. So I did a search on the agenda builder, and only one session came up without COVID in the title, of course. And then, but it had resilient in the title. So I searched for resilient, and I thought, yes, this is the word that SAP is using for COVID.
There is one from BTP, and then there is a customer session, and so yeah. I don't know why it caught my eye, but maybe because COVID is currently increasing in Delhi and in India, so perhaps that's why it caught my eye.
Yeah, it is here too. I think hopefully Sapphire will sort of slip in under the wire before that becomes more of a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, the resilience and sustainability message is definitely. I mean, that's something that started last year, I think, and it's good to see it continuing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it outlasts COVID.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm hoping. So
I mean, COVID was definitely an exacerbating factor, but there was so many other elements of the supply chain that were ripple effects of COVID, right? Like the whole kind of economic impact of people leaving their jobs and not going back, right, to certain professions. And so then you had these, all the lack of people working at the ports to unload the ships, and the lack of truck drivers to move the product, and all of those implications on the supply chain put pressure into businesses that had to figure out how they're going to source product differently and build their products differently and all of that. So I mean, there were implications of COVID, certainly, but those are events that, again, now, we've got a war in Ukraine that's putting pressure on supply chains all over the world in similar ways. And so I think the ways that people need to prepare and plan for business resilience are definitely more profound than they had been.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I think one thing that actually excited me was some of the customers that I burnt midnight oil for when I was at SAP. They are giving some sessions over there, like KKR on S/4HANA Cloud Journey and so on. So that's a bit exciting for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. So they're over the hump. They're ready to present now, right?
Let's hope they're over the hump and they're ready to present now. So they will be made ready.
Are they a cautionary tale?
Yeah.
Don't do it this way.
No, I think we did something nice for them. At least that's what I remember from that couple of instances, right? So, I mean,
sounds good.
SAP did something nice for them. Sorry, 2 years out and still saying we. So
it's a hard habit to break, Paru.
Yeah.
How long were you there? 15 years or so?
16 and a half.
Yeah.
But with a break in between at that time too. So.
Very nice. Yeah, we can forgive you, I think.
Yeah. Another interesting aspect is I just looked up the hot topics, and one interesting one was SAP runs SAP is a hot topic, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But there are 19 sessions on it, so that's kind of interesting. That is really becoming very tight showcase capability, right? So I don't think they focused so much on it before.
The number of customers that we've had that are asking about, how you can operate your SAP platform using Agile with DevOps, and the kind of the same capabilities that their web brethren have in the enterprise, certainly indicate that there's a strong appetite for understanding and learning that. And of course, SAP has a lot of those capabilities that that people want to learn and see and know about. So the more I think that they can lift up the hood a little bit and help share some of that information and bring those capabilities to the broader market, I think the better it will be for big enterprise customers, for sure.
Yeah. I did spend some time looking at those sessions, and I'm not too optimistic, to be honest. I think what SAP really needs to focus on in terms of bringing to their customers is just like from the nuts and bolts, ground up, how should you run SAP properly? And I don't generally see a lot of focus on that in these sessions. There's a lot of focus on sort of, which is what SAP always does in the SAP Runs SAP sessions, a lot of focus on product demos and sort of oftentimes the very advanced, very cool stuff that SAP is doing. And really what customers need, I think, is just here are the basics. This is how you should be able to refresh a dev system from production by pushing one button. Let's start simple, and then we can get to the crazy cool stuff eventually. But yeah, so we'll see. I'll be definitely keeping an eye on that as I walk around there.
Yeah. I think also SAP Runs SAP will not touch on the public cloud, which actually then means public cloud from an ERP perspective, and then it also means the question for me is the number of changes that SAP itself has made, right, to the software. So that is also kind of interesting if SAP would come out with the S/4HANA cloud story to see how they run the business in that case.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've hit, I think, all the hot topics now. We've talked about what we're looking forward to and what our predictions are. We've complained about the lack of virtual sessions, which will hopefully be remedied in the next week. Any last words before we wrap up today?
No, I'm eager to hear how your in-person experience goes, Ethan. I hope it's very rewarding and fun, at least, and brings you back a little bit. It will pale in comparison to what it was, obviously, but it's just so great to see it, finally getting back to a normal state. So I am eager to hear how that goes for you.
Thanks. We'll have to do a wrap-up podcast afterwards so that we can find out the real story about what happened.
The delta between the in-person and the virtual events.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's wrap up. But thanks so much, Paru. Thanks, Rob, for joining. It's great to discuss Sapphire 2022 with you.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Rob.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.